Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I hope you are doing well and that you're having a great weekend. Before we dive on into this, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section, all for Al Gore's rhythm. Al Gore really needs some rhythm, everybody. So please help him out. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive on into this. So, all right, Quentin Francois. I always like to give warnings about certain people. I just see their content super bullish, like just irrational bull. But you know, when I see something that sticks out to me, I like to share it. And what do we have here? Bitcoin demand is the most negative since on record, even more than during the bear market. Wow. Okay. And yet Bitcoin, at the time that he posted this at least, was at $105,000. So what's the deal here, guys? All right. We can see here the bottom of the bear market. Well, no, that was actually what I'm looking at here with my mouse is not the bottom of the bear market. That was the bottom of the summer lull of 2021. That was a really depressing time. You know, Bitcoin bottomed out a little under 20. It was at 29.2. I remember July 20th of 2021, Bitcoin bottomed out at $29,200. And it was really depressing at that time. And here we are, and it's actually lower. Bitcoin spot demand momentum, negative than, or less than demand, is the most negative on record. And what's the deal with that? Well, I mean, guys, when I do my live streams, let me tell you something. Very few people actually own Bitcoin. Very few people are actually interested in Bitcoin. And what I think would be an explanation for this would just be that, Bitcoin, if you only held Bitcoin, you'd be feeling just fine right now. And if you bought Bitcoin throughout the bear market, you'd be feeling pretty good. You'd be feeling very good right now. But because so many people hold altcoins and they bought into the lies, not the lies, just the hope from previous cycles that altcoins were going to make you these massive gains. Well, just crypto interest has dropped off a cliff. And so even with Bitcoin being as low as or as high as it is, there's no excitement in the market. I remember in 2020 when Bitcoin broke through $20,000, personally at least, I felt a lot of excitement. Just, oh my goodness. And people were excited to hold Bitcoin. Now it's just not enough returns, apparently. So interesting thing to look at here, more interesting comparison would be when the last time it was this low or almost as low was the bottom in August of 2024. So Bitcoin got under $49,000 for a brief period of time, August 5th of 2024, and then it recovered. A lot of people were calling for Bitcoin to go to $44,000. That was the number. That was the number that the powers that be, I think, wanted you to wait for, and it never came. And so now, we've seen on Friday at least Bitcoin go under $103,000, almost under $102,000. And I'm telling you, yes, I do believe that Bitcoin is going to go under $100,000 at some point. I don't know, within the next month or so, the sooner the better. And that's probably, in my opinion, going to be a fantastic buying opportunity. Very similar to that particular bottom in August of 2025 and the bottom, August of 2024 and the bottom in 2021. Look at what happened afterwards. Look at when you see this level of a drop in demand momentum. Both times historically, Bitcoin has rallied dramatically. And I think something similar is going to happen with Bitcoin. But let's move on. Zhao Wedson. Whales are going long again compared to retail. Retail is fearful and whales are acting against that sentiment. The whale versus retail ratio measures the proportion of leveraged positions of whales relative to retail traders. When it rises, it signals that whales are more optimistic than retail. So who's wrong this time? Volatility is coming on Friday. Hey, this was a post before Friday. It was Friday morning. Volatility is coming this Friday. Well, that's actually true. Lots of volatility came on Friday. And so why has there been a lot of volatility on Friday? There's another tweet here. Let me look at it. Not that one. It's almost as if options expire on Friday, and if we held current prices, banks would lose some money. Oh, wait. And then silver dumps. We'll get to that in a second. But lots of options expirations today. Excuse me, not today. On Friday, this past Friday. And so as of right now, actually retail is looking more correct than the whales. But if this is on a long enough time scale, which, I mean, you can see this is about a week, this heat map is about a week, that I would suspect that whales will end up being shortish term, a week term, more correct than retail. Aw, sorry, I just saw a picture of my wife. She's so hot. Okay, Bitcoin news. I quote tweeted this on Friday. Bitcoin is at 4% world adoption, same as internet adoption in 1999. We are so early. Let's click on this real quick. I have a little bit of a concern with this chart here. Now you can see a similar trajectory to where we were with the internet, gradually, then suddenly, boom, shakalaka. And Bitcoin, here we are, gradually, and then maybe suddenly throughout the rest of this decade. But I would like to just point something out. I really don't want to be comparing crypto in 2025 to the internet in 1999 in a bullish way. Do you remember what happened after 1999? I mean, literally, the peak of the dot-com bubble was December of 1999. And after that came, the NASDAQ dropped 80%. So, that doesn't mean that's going to happen this time around, but I've been talking about some kind of a dot-com bust with crypto, and even the good ones. Amazon went from $100 a share down to $4. That was a 96% drop in a legit internet company, one of the few legit internet companies. And so at some point, I'm not saying now, I'm not saying this is 1999, but at some point, I do think the crows are going to come home to roost. I really like saying that. That's a fun statement to say. Now, moving on to some altcoins, we have from James Seafart. Sorry, I'm sure I mispronounced that name. New. Eric Balkunis and I are raising our odds for the vast majority of the spot crypto ETF filings to 90% or higher. Engagement from the SEC is a very positive sign in our opinion. So I was curious as to what that meant. Now we have a baskets index. I don't know what's in that baskets index, I would assume more than one crypto, multiple cryptos, some that don't have ETF approval yet, more than just Bitcoin and Ethereum. And you see from Grayscale, Bitwise, Hashdex, Franklin, that was filed on October 15th of 2024, 95% odds of approval in 2025. Litecoin, same deal, 95% of approval in 2025. Solana, 95%. XRP, 95%. Dogecoin, all right, let's do this. 90%. Cardano, 90%. Polkadot, 90%. HBAR, 90%. Avalanche, 90%. Sui, 60%. Which is understandable. I mean, it's one of the newer filings, and final SEC deadline is pushing the limit there. They could delay that. And then Tron, no response yet, but we've seen some positive developments with Bitcoin and Ethereum as being sort of confident holds right now, taking the stairs up. And for Ethereum, it took 6 months to get through that period of time when Grayscale was selling off their shares. And unfortunately, Grayscale is applying for all of these except for Sui and Tron. So that's probably something similar that's going to happen. But right now, we are reaping the rewards of the Ethereum ETF. And eventually, we will reap the rewards of Litecoin, Solana, XRP, Dogecoin, Cardano, Polkadot, HBAR, etc. So I consider this a good thing. Let's do it. And kind of interesting, I don't see BlackRock here. All right. Well, moving on. Something that I found very interesting. Wyoming's stable token commission ranked Aptos and Solana as the top blockchain candidates for WYST, the stablecoin commission token, the first U.S. state-issued fiat-backed stablecoin. So this is really interesting to me. That, wow, all right, Aptos has not been on my radar at all lately. I haven't looked at an Aptos chart in a while. I'm sure the chart looks terrible. I'm actually going to look at the Aptos chart while I'm talking to you right now. Yes, the chart looks like an absolute disaster. It looks terrible. All right, look, there it is. It's on my other monitor. That looks just so bad. So that would be bullish for Aptos for sure. Obviously, I mean, we have plenty of things with Solana in terms of adoption. So really, Aptos, okay. Now, options expiration, big option expiration day on Friday, and we see silver. It went above $37 an ounce. Now it's gone down to 35, but a break above 35 is very bullish for silver. Just think about on a longer timeline, because we're not talking about crypto here. We're talking about something that moves much slower. So, okay, now the banks are going to make their money. Maybe this is a good time to buy the dip. You guys know I've been very bullish on silver. I love silver. I love silver. I love gold. I love Bitcoin. So pay attention to that. Now, this isn't fun. I've shared this chart before. This is from Guilherme Tavares, Moment of Truth for S&P 500. This chart shows us, yikes, all right, U.S. 2-year yield minus U.S. 30-year yield around 2 years in advance. And you can see from 2023, and really that would have been 2021 until 2023, we saw a steady rise and then a dump and then a significant correlation. So unfortunately, if we're going to continue to follow this, what comes next is a significant downtrend in the S&P 500. And this entire move up, breaking through significant major retraces, was what? Was just almost a double peak. So we'll see if this sticks. We break through a new all-time high. I really think in the S&P 500 that we're going to go into price discovery. And so maybe this time will be different than this correlation that we're really seeing a correlation from the last 3 years, according to this chart. But something to keep on your radar, what's Bitcoin going to do? What's the rest of the crypto market? I could see Bitcoin doing just fine, but what's the rest of the crypto market going to do if this is how it plays itself out? So we shall see. We shall see. Lastly, another thing that I find interesting personally, we have the gap between home sale and list prices has never been larger. The U.S. home median price reached $425,950 for the 4 weeks ending June through 8th. At the same time, the median sale price was $28,950 below list price, the highest on record. Furthermore, this gap has rapidly widened over the last few months. By comparison, the median sale price was higher than the list price in 2021 and 2022, according to Redfin. Additionally, only 28% of U.S. homes are now selling above the asking price, the lowest for this time of year since 2020. The U.S. housing market, I would not say is shifting towards buyers. I would say has shifted towards buyers. Oh, yeah. That gap, I find that fascinating. I don't know if I'm the only one, but, what does that mean for lots of things, economy-wise, all that. We will see. Let me know your thoughts on that one. But anyway, that is all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your week. I will most certainly be seeing you in another video. Peace.